Hey, what do you say? This is Boss and Men Speaking Out, and I am honored to have a giant in the room, the virtual room with me. I am speaking to attorney Matt Hines, and the subject today, which is episode 92, by the way, the subject today is blind spots in business, what some see, but most miss. Now, before we get started, I want to make sure that I give my guest the proper introduction because he's worked so hard to get there, and we must always give folks their roses while they're here amongst the land of the living. So Matt Hines is an it's an Atlanta-based attorney, entrepreneur, and business builder who knows success the hard way. He's earned his undergraduate degree from Clemson University, then completed both his law degree and MBA at Georgia State University. Matt took a bold move and launched his law firm straight out of school with no investors and no safety net. We're going to talk about that. After early wins in real estate law, the 2008 recession forced him into bankruptcy. Instead of folding, he rebuilt from scratch. Today, Matt's company employs over 200 people across legal, real estate, advertising, social media, and consulting. He speaks candidly about entrepreneurship, scaling business, failure, politics, and modern social trends by bringing real-world lessons, energy, and unfiltered honesty to every conversation. Matt, how did I do?
Man, that sounds great.
There you go. You go.
Be humbled here. I don't know. Yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna try to live up to all the words.
Yes. Well, Matt, first of all, thank you very much for being on Men Speaking Out. I mean, it's an honor to have someone who can actually come and give a transparent, unfiltered, bring value to listeners about blind spots in business, what some see but most miss. So, Matt, real quickly here, I know that I gave you an intro, but I would like my guests for them to tell me a little bit about themselves before we get into the woods. So,
sure, man. All right, so I'll try not to repeat too much of what you said, but I'm originally from South Carolina. I had a great family. I've got one sister, mother and father. Mom was teacher. Dad was in business. I was lucky there. I was blessed. My family is wonderful. They always supported me. They were there to back me up. Just a great family. Then high school in South Carolina, which is a small town, but I loved Hartsville. And then college, law school, and MBA. And I thought at the time that having having a law degree would make me a better businessman. That was my logic at the time. So if I could analyze the situation from the laws and legality of it, that would allow me to make better decisions. But then it flipped that law allowed me to have a trade of my own where I could set up shop and sort of create something by myself, like give you the independence. Because I just wasn't in. My dad had worked for a large company all his life. He did great there. It was a great company. Really nothing wrong. I did not want that. I wanted whatever. I was just kind of just set on setting up something and creating it and hoping it grows, trying to make it grow. So anyway, moved to Georgia. At the time, South Carolina, where I was from, had one law school. Georgia had 6. And I was like an student. Not a great. Right. I did good enough, but I wasn't great. So I did not get into the school in South Carolina. So I came on over to Georgia where my odds were better and started at Mercer, went to Georgia State. And graduated in 2004. And I did begin immediately after that. I got one decent offer that I considered, but I couldn't shake the desire. I was absolutely driven to just start something. And I was young enough at the time. I didn't have a family. No marriage or anything. I could kind of do, not that should be a stop for anyone, but I could just do whatever. And right now I've got 2 boys, one 14 and one 4, wonderful wife. Things all is good right now.
Nice. It's been interesting you said that because most people, when they come out of school, to have a safety net, they want to get a job, right? They want to work with someone. They want to make sure they get a secure paycheck. They want to make sure that they're going to start a family or anything. They want to make sure that they have sort of like that bubble to make sure that everyone in that bubble is squared away. But you didn't do that, right? You said, you know what? I want my own. I want to do myself. I mean, what was the driving factor behind that one?
I don't know if I was proving it to myself or I knew I was sort of infatuated with that idea of just doing it, setting up shop, win, lose, or draw in the attempt. Like I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I didn't know how. I didn't really know what. looking back, I was a complete moron. Even with the law, law school is similar to other schools. They didn't really teach you how to be a lawyer. You go to the school, you pass your exams, and then you get out, and the real world teaches you actually how to be a lawyer.
Right.
Getting out, I didn't know law. I had ambition, man, but I didn't really have the knowledge to back it up. So it was a lot of just learning by getting my teeth kicked in and saying, I'm probably not going to do that again. And then sort of firing back.
Right.
But anyway, that was how it went.
No, I think it's interesting.
You learn fast like that, I'll tell you.
Yeah, on the job training, right?
Right.
Really OGT, right?
Yeah.
So here's a factor that really still blows my mind, right? You came out of school, started your firm. Did you know what kind of law you wanted to practice? Did you know exactly, corporate law, family law, business law? I mean, was there a passion, a particular law you said, you know what, I know I'm going to excel at this. I know I love this part about it. What was on your mind when you actually started your firm, right? What type of law did you want to practice?
The first thing on my mind was the entrepreneur spirit. Like I wanted to grow something. I hate to say it, but I didn't really have this strong passion for civil rights or criminal defense or injury law or corporate law. I thought all that was interesting, but it was more of the desire to have this game in life and grow something. Mm-hmm. That was my biggest thing. And at the time, I guess you could say my passion soon became real estate, but not because I was just in love with real estate law. It's not that exciting. But at the time, I had friends doing really well with it. I had young attorney friends who had gotten out there and they were killing it. And so I was like, okay, it was easy enough to understand. And I felt that was a sort of a door I could walk through and maybe do something successful with it.
Right.
But it was not, it was hard for a while. Like the first year and a half or so, maybe even 2 years, was just not fun. Every morning was this like sickness in my stomach. It was not fun.
Oh, wow.
But every month was like I'd make just enough to maybe pay the rent. And it was this constant sort of struggle. Yeah. It was worth it. It was fine. I'd sort of accepted the fact that that's how things were going to be. But yeah, it wasn't easy. But to answer your question, if I had to say, it was real estate law in the beginning.
Okay.
What I went in for.
Okay, gotcha. So I know that a lot of folks are very scared to take the risk that you took.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of us are so dependent on another employer, right, to pay our bills, to give us help us sustain in life, and to make sure it's taking care of our families. Right. I mean, this employer is cutting my paycheck. It's going to pay my mortgage. It's going to put food on the table, clothes on our backs, transportation and so forth. But you once again, you didn't do that. How did you pitch your idea and to recruit people? Here you are, this young man, fresh out of school. You gotta not only do you have to sell your idea to a new client, but you got to sell it to people to come work for you, to make them believe in you. How did you manage that one?
Yeah. At the time, Craigslist was really effective. I don't think we even use Craigslist anymore, but I put out ads on Craigslist. They charge you $25, and that was just kind of the streets way of finding new talent and recruiting it. And there was this one young girl. It's every entrepreneur gets to that point because they're going to be struggling. They're just going to be. Right. And they're going to say to themselves, I can't even pay myself. How the hell am I going to pay somebody else also when I can't even really securely afford the rent? That is a barrier that everybody has to break through. You can, but mentally it's hard to just push through it. Everybody's going to get to that point. Unless you've got your dad or somebody who's just flowing you clients or there's some sort of a unique situation. But for the most part, if you just get out there and try it, you're going to get to that point where this threshold of, do I spend a little bit more and hope I can grow it, or do I just stay small and keep it safe? And the answer is to push through it and grow. So anyway, I just started advertising, and a young girl came on board. I don't know, man. She trusted me enough. I don't remember selling myself as the business of the future or anything. It was just, here's the help that I need. And it's funny, man. it's actually pretty pathetic when you think about it, because I imagine when she got to that office, this was just me in a little 10-foot by 6-foot office. It's one of those office suites programs.
Yeah. With incubator type things.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And it couldn't have been that impressive when she came into the room. She's got to be like, really? But anyway, man, we made it happen. And then she left, and I got someone else. And the second person I got was a little bit more educated on the law. I guess you could say I kind of upgraded on what. That's another one people are going to decide, because they're going to be like, do I hire cheap and train, or do I just hire with a little bit more experience, but I have to pay more? My answer to that is hire with more experience and pay more. But anyway, she came on, and I think she got into the spirit of it. There was enough clients and enough action where she could say, okay, I can get into this.
Okay.
And I don't know. I guess when you're moving forward and you believe in something and you're just actively working at it, it does attract others. It does.
Right.
Even if the sales pitch isn't beautiful, I think you do. The vector just kind of pulls in people.
Sure.
Mostly good. Sometimes they're not so much, but anyway.
Gotcha. Now here you are. Let's date this right. Okay, this is 2008, right? In this time frame, right?
No, this would be like 05, 2005.
2005. Okay, so 2005. Here you are. Launching your firm. You had your first recruit. In your 10 by 6 office, and you're like pushing along, and so you're growing your business slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden, 2008, bankruptcy hits.
Yeah.
Right. So not to dig deep in what happened, but the question to ask is, when you saw the wall starting to shake a little bit, when the foundation got a little loose, right? Speaking of real estate, right? When the foundation wasn't secure.
Yeah.
How did you, oh my goodness. Now, how did you keep your composure?
I always felt that I had the next move ready. Mm-hmm. Whether that was true or not, I don't know. But I knew that if this happens, I'm going to do this. And I guess I just felt that next phase of the company would be successful. I was always pretty good at that, staying optimistic. Mm-hmm. Even though the walls were caving in, like you said, and they were caving in. 08's when we filed bankruptcy. And let me comment on that too, because that's if there's entrepreneurs on this program listening, they need to hear this. I had every reason to say, this is why my company failed. That was the market crash in 08.
Yeah, I remember that.
All my clients were, of course, in real estate, so they were going under. Everything was just in shambles. So it would be easy to say it was the economy. The economy got me. And that would be bullshit. Excuse my language. It was a failure of management on my part. And I was young, not experienced. I didn't really know how to run a group of people. Mm-hmm. And so it's almost like they were running me, because I hired people that knew about that practice of law and real estate, and I was completely relying upon them.
Right.
I felt like I can't fire them. I can't even really put in ethics or rules, because if they leave, I'm screwed. So I had this horrible little game situation in my head, and letting that get out of control is what destroyed us. So yes, it was date coincident with the market crash, but it was a lack of management that really did it. Okay, and it was one of those things I told myself over and over. We had one big client countrywide. They sold to Bank of America, but at the time they were.
Yeah, they were a mortgage company, right? Countrywide. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We had 3 of their branches here in Atlanta, and they flooded us with business. I could add to that too, actually, but they flooded us, and they were kind of crashing, and I could easily justify it like, well, my clients were crashing, therefore I crashed. But it was a lack of management. And I'll say one thing about Countrywide. We started with, or any big company, because we started with one branch. There were 3 or 4 major branches in Atlanta. We had one of them. So we got all that business. That was a lot for a little young attorney like me. And then the branch manager brought me in one day, and he said, Matt, this other branch is looking for an attorney. You want that business? Now that that one little meeting tripled me overnight.
Wow.
And that was what also caused us to crash.
Gotcha. So, yeah, so what I'm hearing is capacity, right? I mean,
Right.
yeah, too much. I mean, not enough capacity to handle all this stuff coming in, flooding in from all these different, you know, I guess, shall I say, antennas, right, coming on into you. So, and here's the thing too, right? Because I think sometimes in business, we look for people, we look to hire people on that we feel that have the experience, that we say, okay, you know what, this person's good at marketing, this person's good in this person's good in that, and we let them be the drivers of our business, and we can't take a back seat.
Yeah.
Right. And then we find ourselves sliding down this pole of razor blades into a pool of alcohol.
Yeah.
And then we wonder how the hell we got there.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously experience is the best teacher in your situation. But I guess, what would you share with young entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs, period, no matter young, middle age, whatever? What would be your sound advice that you will let them know, hey, listen, how to keep an eye on your business from day one, right? From what you learned.
Say that again. I'm sorry. How would you what now?
How would you advise them to basically not micromanage their business, but to keep an eye on the activity of it from day one?
This kind of answers it, but we'll go full circle. From the beginning, you market hard. And I think the mistake a lot of businesses make is they start off and they do a little bit of marketing. They get some clients, and then they serve those clients and drop the marketing. Mm-hmm. And now their business does this kind of statistically up and down and up, because they don't have a constant flow of marketing going out to the public. And so they have to market hard, which would be themselves in the beginning because they're the only person. But then as they grow and they're doing their production or they're doing something else in the business, they have to hire someone to continue that marketing, or they themselves have to do the marketing and hire someone to handle the production.
Right.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Okay. So I think failure to consistently market is one of the biggest things. That's where I failed, because I had sort of hit pay dirt and I got that big client. So I didn't market. I didn't need to market. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, don't be reliant on one source. Stop this. And I knew it was a killer. I was just driving off the cliff, and I knew it, but I was so busy. It was almost too busy, man. It wasn't whatever. I was finding myself and stability and all that mess. Right. But I stopped the marketing. And so what's that client left me? They actually fired me because I was making mistakes. Anyway, but that was it. I didn't really have anything else to fall back on. There had been a few things from the little bit of marketing that I was doing, but that was my failure, because marketing has to be constant.
Yes.
And all the time, not when you're slow, you market, but marketing. So that was lesson number one that I learned.
Okay. Gotcha. So
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. So that would be considered a blind spot, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a blind spot, right? When folks miss, others catch, right? That's a blind spot. So, and once again, thank you. I appreciate you, Mark Hines. This is a blind spots in business, what some miss. I'm sorry, what some see, but others miss. Episode 92, and I have a giant on the virtual room here, and he is sharing his life experiences with his fantastic law firm and all his different businesses and his employment of 200 people. And I tell you, I might need a job, so I might be coming to see you, here in a few weeks.
All right. I'd be honored, man.
Yeah, I'll be here. I know you got a podcast already with Hines on Air, but you might need to fill in every once in a while. So It's all good. Yeah. So with that being said, right, bankruptcy hits, right? 2008.
Yeah.
2008 bankruptcy hits. Now, pivot and tilt, right? Pivot and tilt the business. You got to pivot and tilt. Okay.
Right.
You filed. A lot of folks are impacted. I'm sure you probably had to, maybe do some reallocation. That's the word they use in corporate America now. When they let folks go, let's reallocate, right? So reallocate some people. And now you have to rebuild. What does that look like? starting off?
That was slow and stressful at first, but I was at the time I was married to my first wife, my ex-wife, and who's a great person. We're all good with that. And it was me and her in this little office, and I was lucky because she did not. It didn't bother her that we were going through tough times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was just kind of roll with it. Let's go. If we got to move to a little 1-bedroom apartment, we'll do it. Like, you know, so that was really cool.
Okay.
And I was the same. It wasn't like I was disappointing anybody or whatever. I was just like, there's only one way to go right now, and that's forward. And I think, what's the phrase? When you're going through hell, you run. So I think that's the phrase. So we were going through, so we were not looking to just hang around in that phase for a long time.
Right.
But, you know, man, we would try. Bankruptcy became a big deal at that time in 2008 because foreclosures were prevalent. Bankruptcy stopped foreclosures. And so we got into bankruptcy. So we do bankruptcy some, and I hired someone who specialized in that. I was very reliant on other skills.
Yeah.
But so we did that. We would do a few cases of personal injury. We just kind of maintained for a little while. And it was a struggle, man, because each month, again, I was sort of back to the beginning where I did not know if I would have money for the next month. So, and then I remember we hired and we sell a little bit here. I don't know, man, you just keep pushing through it.
Sure.
Sort of like come to a clearing at the end of the path. And it came. It came. Before I knew it, we were out of the jungle and sort of into something fun. Or
there you go. There you go.
Something we can hang on to. So, you know, we just kept our eyes focused, kept moving one day at a time, and just found a way out.
You know, actually, it brings on 2 questions. We have a question actually from a listener right now. And the question that she asks is, based on experience, has there been a noticeable difference between paid marketing versus free advertising?
Ooh. My best form of marketing, and this is how it started, and this is still my best to this day, is a team of marketers that go to businesses. Now, I do pay them, their staff, but I think when you're saying paid, you mean like Google pay-per-click and the LSAs and the social media, stuff like that. I love the one-on-ones because for the longest time, it was just me shaking hands, knocking on offices, and doing just whatever I could for free. I've also, but there's friends of mine, and they'll put 100,000 on TikTok or something. TikTok, you're like, what the hell is TikTok? And they're doing a killing. So there is not really one good one. If you ask me my opinion, I would say the person-to-person meeting, having a lunch, visiting, that sort of a thing. That has been my best since the beginning. It was me, and then I trained a team, and that team grew. Right now, there's about 10 of them, and that's been sort of the foundation for our marketing growth.
You know, I'm with you on that because I think for me, it's word of mouth, right? Yep. I think that once you have established, you know, a good rapport with your customer, you know, that individual will referral, because that's a testimonial, right?
Yeah.
That actually is living proof that you've actually did them justice in the work that you did for them. That's just my personal opinion, right? I'm not saying that the other processes don't work. I'm just saying that's still up there. That is still qualifies in my book one of the top ways to bring new clientele to your business. That's
totally, and it's hard. It's hard to cut through the noise in advertising because certainly in the legal field, personal injury. I don't know. You're in Indianapolis, right?
That's correct.
All right. I don't know how it is up there in Georgia. It is horrendous, the amount of competition and noise, and to break through all of that crap, whether it's billboards or TV commercials or radio commercials or social media to Google, there's so many people wanting those cases.
Yeah.
Get through all that noise is difficult. And I agree with you. If you can just get a friend to refer, it cuts straight through all that crap versus being one of 1,000 social media posts that they're scrolling through. That's a tougher sell. But if you got that person. So going back to your viewer's question, yes, if you can get you or a sales team to sort of get the community around you to refer.
Okay. Yeah. Because
that's
I
huge.
mean, don't we do the same thing with looking for a good mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
right? Plumber, right? Maybe somebody do yard work. I mean, we do this. We do the same thing. Hey, I got a guy over here who does landscaping. I got a guy over here who fixes cars. And we do the same thing, right? I mean, we don't have them drink through a fire hose, right?
Yeah.
All this information being consumed, we refer them out, right? Just to make sure that we know the quality of work. We want to make sure our person that we're referring to or referring them to, they get the same quality,
Yeah.
right? Proven point. Now you said something that was very curious to me. I jotted it down.
Okay.
Your spouse,
Okay.
right? Having the right person, the right support at the right time, right? Yeah. How significant is it when you have that right person supporting you? You got your business is hills and valleys, right? You come out in the hill, you learn in the valleys. That's what it is, ups and downs. But when you have those down periods, when things maybe didn't go so well, or you're like exhausted, when that energy is almost depleted, how important is it to have a spouse or a partner to be there to pick you back up and say you got this?
Oh, it's vital.
From your experience.
Oh, it's vital. You couldn't do it without it. Like if you have a spouse or somebody or a partner, whatever your preference, if you have somebody that is not on your team moving at your speed and there to support you, I mean, you're in trouble. You're probably stuck. But you need somebody there. Like when my wife and I met, before we got serious, we met and we said we wanted to match goals in life. Like what are your goals? What are my goals? And do they coincide, or are they gonna conflict? Like if I want to work till 7, are you gonna be upset that I wasn't home for dinner at 5, right, or all that kind of stuff? Like that's a big deal. Because if you've got somebody that's constantly upset with you because you didn't do this, or that's not your partner.
Right.
So this question is enormously important. Like one of the top, more than education or client or anything, you got to have a spouse or partner that is with you all the way.
Yeah.
They're fighting with you.
I told our dear friend today, I said, you know what? You're already good by yourself. You need to get with somebody that can help make you great.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Right.
I agree.
Exactly. Right. So, because like you just said, and I've been married, right. And I understand exactly what it's like. You got to burn the late hours, my IT consultant, you've got to fix server, something crashes, you got to get the business back up and going. I mean, it's very important. And it's like, hey, where are you when you coming home? What's going on? And it's like, hey, I've got to focus on this because, this is help paying the bills. Right. So you got to make sure that you got somebody in your corner that does understand that. And a lot of people are selfish because it's about me, not about we, right? So it's really important. And I'm glad that you said that, because I just want the listeners to understand. And for those out there listening to this podcast, be out there to support each other for growth and development and be the best you can be, versus trying to come back home and fight a battle in your home when you fight enough out there outside them 4 walls.
Oh, totally. I mean, an entrepreneur's mindset, or anybody looking to grow whatever they're involved with, that is a different viewpoint in life than somebody who goes to a 9 to 5 and just comes home. They are not. I mean, until you put your name on a lease, or until you have to take out a personal loan to make payroll, or you've got to invest the whatever for that first little Google campaign, or whatever it is, that's hard. And if your spouse is going to fight you on all those serious decisions and say, wait, you shouldn't, be careful, you shouldn't do all that.
Right.
And they're stopping you every time you want to try to think big. It's not just that you don't need that, really.
Yeah. Don't let that go. I'm with you. With you. Yeah. All right, Mark, I want to pivot and tell a little bit. All right. You said you run multiple companies, right? Multiple industries: legal, real estate, social media, consulting. How do you handle all that, man? I mean, how do you handle that with in this society we live in, with diversity? How do you handle that?
That's where the team comes in. Because I'd be nothing without our team. We have an awesome group of people that are highly motivated. They want what's best for clients. And I don't know, they just care. I often say, whenever you hire somebody, one of the first questions you need to be asking yourself is, can this person be an executive? Because they might just come in and be reception at first.
Sure.
Be fine. But is that somebody you're going to trust? Are they intelligent enough? Do they care enough that in a year, 2 years, you can appoint them to another position of power and them run with it with authority and with conviction? Because that is going to define how fast you grow or whether you grow. Because if you think you're going to come in and do it, you're going to run your Facebook campaign, and you're going to meet with clients, and you're going to do the work of the clients, and you're going to go out and market, and you're going to fix the phone, no way. You're going to stay small, or you're going to start putting people that you trust in these positions, which will allow you to grow. So that's the answer to how do you maintain different little organizations, is you're working with good people.
Gotcha. So with that being said, you foster consistency. However, you put these different folks, like you're playing chess, right? You're putting people in positions so where you can, eventually have checkmate, right? So what about micromanaging?
Well, that's necessary more at first. I am of the mindset that you train somebody as well as possible and then let them get on with it, get out of their face. And then they need to have a KPI or a statistic,
right?
Sort of measure of production.
That's right.
Once they have that, all you do is watch the stats. I call them stats. Some people call them KPI.
Yeah. Key performance indicators. I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
Performance indicators. And then that's it. But you're not sitting there telling them what to do with each. That's bad management. So I am not a micromanager at all. Unless we see a problem, then we kind of come in. Everybody in our organization has graphs. And everybody has what's called a main statistic. And that shows their production. If they're in sales, how many signups? If they're in medical records, how many records did they receive? And we're watching their graphs. And for the most part, I'm going to let them do what they do. They don't need somebody over them all the time. Gotcha. If the graph starts dropping, then I'll get more interested. And I guess we have to micromanage to some extent. Is it training? Is it attitude? Is it they're just unhappy? Or, might be some external factor like, I don't know, their husband's a jerk. But we get in there and try to help them.
Right. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we got a question came out of that. Question is, how do you ensure an alignment across teams when you're operating primarily at a macro level? So how do you make sure your teams are aligned at a macro level?
We have pretty consistent meetings where everybody comes on board and we just kind of keep the group talking. The more they communicate, the better they're going to bond and the better they're going to work with. That's I think the main thing. I do want to teach in the very beginning how one person's statistics and performance influences the next, so that they kind of understand the group dynamic and how we're interconnected. And if they get that, they kind of work together. A good leader, a good manager will inspire the others to sort of keep the purpose alive.
Sure.
Every company says we're big on customer service. Everybody says that. That's bullshit, though. Probably 10% actually make a strong effort to train and correct and do that. But if the right manager is sort of establishing the code amongst the group or what's expected, they stay aligned fairly well, very well.
Gotcha.
So I'd say an understanding of how the group's connected, how this person will affect this person, and working together, and excellent leadership that meets short meetings, but fairly often, and just kind of keeps the group focused. Because we still work from home for the most part. We have not come back from COVID. I'd say maybe 25% of us are in the office. And so it's even harder for us because everybody's scattered in their own house. And, we go back and forth on this debate. Are they more productive in or out? And then all this stuff. But
Yeah, yeah. Same thing in my company I work for, right? Same thing, right? Are we more productive at home? You find yourself working more at home actually than you would do actually in the office, right? So the longer hours, and I don't have to get dressed. I can sit here in my pajamas and drink my coffee and type away. So I get it. Now, you kind of sparked another question of mine, right? Without struggle, there's no progress. I firmly believe in that. Right. And we all going to fail at some point in time. And some folks don't like feedback. Right. So how do you deal with failure and feedback when it comes to folks in your organization? Right. Meaning, is it receptive? Is it, because in order for you to move forward and to even understand what you're doing, you need feedback, right? You need feedback on everything. So how is that looked at? If I'm working for you in a firm and I screw up something that's huge, right? Am I like out the door, or say, you know what? Okay, let's sit back and take a step back and understand exactly what happened. How did we get here, right? So I'm welcoming your thoughts.
I like to give them, if somebody came on board, let's say they've been with us 2 months and they're doing something that is just not what we expect, not what we want, not what's helping the group. I would have a polite conversation with them. Just say, man, look, we're excited about the future. We're looking forward to working together. There is a few things that weren't up to what we were expecting, man. So some compliments first, and then maybe with some things that they could help, and explain to them how that affects the group and how that will work together. If they do it again, possibly some training, more intense training. All right, let me get you some training on this so that you understand, and this is more of a natural pattern for you. If it's happening a lot, then yeah, it might be time to just separate. And I've fired many people, and I've never gotten used to it. I don't like firing.
Yeah.
I'd love to say I'm strong. I'm the strong businessman, and I don't have any emotions. I totally do. So I don't want to fire people. But all people weren't meant for that position. And I think it was Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is the guy on YouTube and all.
Yeah.
He was talking about this. I think he said it the right way. He's like, look, I'm just helping them find the right path they were meant to be on. which is a good way. They weren't meant for sales; they were meant for blah.
Right. But here's
notices and warnings. I'm probably overly reasonable when it comes to sort of striking fast on when it's not going to work out.
Gotcha, man. You got folks blowing up these questions. I tell you, I got another question for her right now, right? So it says, do you guys think that leaders are born, or can leadership be learned? And what do you identify shapes in that process?
No, leaders can definitely be learned. One of the best leaders we have in our company right now, when he came on board, I like to meet with the new people and see, what is your goal in life? Like, what do you want to do? Because I'd like to somehow align our company's goals with their own. That way we're sort of moving together. Mm-hmm. And his response was, I'm going to teach math at a university. That has nothing to do with anything we're doing.
All right.
But he's a good guy. And as he came on board and got into the spirit of things, you could see how he sort of got more interested and more purposeful. And he got promoted. Right now, he's one of the top execs in the company and is just on fire with leading groups. Wow. And he's the type that I could say, I'm going to call him Mr. X. Mr. X, can you help with this group right now? They're having trouble. And he'll go over there, and his energy and leadership alone will just kind of pull him out of the funk. It's amazing. And he was not there in the beginning. Shy, whatever, just kind of going through. So I think given the right conditions and somebody sort of finding what they're good at and how they can excel and grow, that leadership within them will absolutely grow.
So he evolved, right? He evolved.
Balled. He's still balling.
I tell you,
definitely, yeah. I look at Yeah, go ahead.
No. You please finish
Now,
your thought.
one of the best examples in history, I think, is Simon Bolivar, who's a hero of mine.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most powerful and capable individuals that ever existed, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And he was not in the beginning. He was rich and didn't really have a lot of purpose in life. And to me, he was not the Simon Bolivar that we know in history. Like he was just, I don't know, doing his thing, rich. He didn't need to work. And then he adopted that mentality of, trying to fight the Spanish and going against them and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he rose to the level of such power. I mean, this guy could be sleeping in a Venezuelan jungle with mosquitoes and nets and just the worst conditions. And then at night, he's dancing with royalties and kings and queens.
Wow.
Like he's the man. But that didn't happen. He wasn't like born Bolivar. Such circumstances, conditions, situations sort of molded him. So I think it does take a drive to want to be better, I think. Mm-hmm. But leaders are definitely it's a learned pattern or whatever too. They're not just born that way for sure.
Right. Thank you for responding to that question.
Yeah.
So you had some major challenges, right? You had some major setbacks, right? And like some entrepreneurs have, right? Or most of us do. I mean, what would you say, or how would you teach others to use those setbacks and challenges as fuel to achieve, right? I'm not going to tell you to reach for the stars when there's footprints on the moon, right? So how do you let them know, live, learn, go, right?
I mean, the leader's job in the company is to sort of point the way we're going and always have a future path, like a future there. Where are we going to travel to? Not just get caught up in payroll and personalities and just the kind of shit that is going on within a company. Mm-hmm. So if the leaders, if they're constantly putting forward like, all right, where we're going. All right, we have a podcast here. We have a great team that's in the podcast. They're right behind the camera right now. And if we're just doing podcasts once a week, okay, that's fine. That's going to get boring. But if we want to be the biggest podcast in Georgia, and here's how we're going to do it, here's the path we're going to take to get there. Now, being a leader, that inspires the group, and that kind of pushes them to that next level.
Sure.
So you got to put the vision there for everybody. Now, I don't know if I'm directly answering your question other than like, that's how I like to, I guess, see myself as pushing the group and growing it.
Yeah.
As far as using the past to sort of make myself stronger or the group stronger, there were lessons, I guess, I got from it, things that we did wrong. It mm-hmm. gives me some sort of credibility, I would say, too, mm-hmm. having done it rather than I read about it in college.
Right.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. So that part helps, and it makes my decision stronger because I have firsthand knowledge of this stuff. It wasn't,
We always say experience is the best teacher, right? So I mean, exactly, right? I mean, how do you know what it's like to starve when you always had a meal?
Right.
So you can't even appreciate it, right? Because you always had food, right? Yeah. So in order for you to let somebody know what it's like to be hungry, you had to experience it, right? Yes. Whether it's hungry for success, hungry for food, hungry for growth and development, right? You had to go through to get through. I get that. That's clear as day. Now, here's a question I want to ask you. I got two more questions. This question is soft skills.
Okay.
Right? How people can come to your business and they can work for you and they can be A1, do the job, but they don't know how to talk to people. They don't know they talk to, but not with. They're shy, quiet, timid. They don't know, right? So how do you handle someone who's sharp as a tack, but still doesn't have quite that je ne sais quoi, right? That they would need to run your operation.
I don't think they'd make it. To me, when you say soft skills, it's like what you said, the ability to talk, listen, mm-hmm. make, laugh, just kind of work together as a team. Really, that's what I get from all that.
That is correct. Yes.
And, you know, if we had a skilled paralegal who was brilliant, but could not work as a group and didn't care about the rest of the group, I don't think they'd make it, man. I don't see a way. I mean, maybe you could devise a way to benefit from their production without spoiling the group, but those soft skills are vital, man. Whether it's dealing with a client, whether it's dealing with their team, no matter what they're dealing with. I don't know how an organization would function without those soft skills being present.
Yeah, no, I mean that's huge. That's huge.
If you can't work as a team, we would probably not just let you go pretty quick. Even in our hiring process, that's something that's hit and focused on a lot is how do you work with others? How have you worked with others when there was conflict in the past? How'd you handle it? But when if they can't handle all that, they're probably not going to be useful. They should probably just work for themselves and I don't know.
Right. And that's definitely, like I said, that's definitely a blind spot in business, right? What some see, others miss. I mean, really, that's what it is. That is a blind spot all day. Last question. I will say, oh, I'm sorry. Someone popped another question on me in the chat. So second to last question. The question is, can vulnerability make someone a stronger leader, or does it risk undermining their credibility?
No, I don't think it risks credibility at all. I think vulnerability is a necessary feeling or whatever it might be. I mean, I still feel vulnerable in certain situations all the time. And it just kind of pushes me. It gives fuel to the fire to push harder to do well.
Sure. Now that question got me thinking of one more question.
Oh, that's
you.
Cool.
Yeah. Implicit bias. Let's talk about that for a second, right? So we have biases. We all do. Everyone has a bias. I mean, me, you, the world, right? So when a person may come in who may not have, quite the education or, the finances and so forth, right? How do you necessarily handle someone like that who's either a client or a potential employee, right? They're sharp, but they may not have, that candle that goes on the top of the cake, right? They got the icing, they got the layers, but they just might not have that. You say, well, you're good enough, but we need somebody like this. Or you say, you know what, we're gonna give you a shot because I think you can get there.
We give them a shot normally.
Okay.
If they've got a willingness to do well, and we sort of feel that spirit within them, usually we can give them the rest and maybe light that candle for them. And being in a good group, you could take maybe a B- player, maybe C+, and put them with a real focused group, like a bunch of Green Berets or Navy SEALs or something, and they're going to rise to that level of the SEALs. Now that F player won't; they'll just drop out and they will give up. But I think if they've got a lot of it and they've got a willingness to do better and improve themselves, I trust our teams enough to sort of instill in them enough pride and dedication that they're going to come up and be productive.
Gotcha. No, thank you. Great response. Last question, my friend. Once again, I'm loving this interview. This is awesome.
Me too. I'm sorry, I want to make sure I answered your viewer's question about vulnerability. So was I clear?
Yes.
Vulnerability is totally expected. No matter, I don't care what level you're at.
Yes.
Well, I don't give a damn if you're a billionaire. There's going to be a vulnerable sense at every step of growth, every decision you make. Like, should we spend this, I don't know, $10,000 on software? Should I hire this person? They want $80,000 and not 60, which is what I wanted. Should I? There's always going to be this sort of questioning thing. So, yeah, it's not wrong, man. Just make a decision. Making a decision is the most important thing. Any decision. Don't worry about whether it's right or wrong. Make the decision and go forward.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Last question. How important, in your opinion, is having the right IT tools in place, whether it's AI, or whatever, right? Even social media, the way everything's swipe right, swipe left, whatever it is. How important is technology in growing your business?
It's important. It's very important. It's not as important in the very beginning. When you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people, you can kind of make that go right.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't require a lot of organization and just the things that software provides. If you're going to want to start getting to that 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and on up and continuing that growth, you will not do it without good software.
Gotcha.
That it is going to keep you organized. It's going to allow you to just be informed about all the information that you got to keep in your head. And it'll keep you small. Anytime I've seen people bigger than us, but they're not like Microsoft big, but they're just well-established, profitable companies. And I'll go in and talk to them, and I'm always shocked at how sophisticated their software is. I mean, they're doing stuff that I haven't even thought about. And all these, whether it's creating an app on their phone where all their teams are communicating, or whether it's a financial software and they're getting all this data, they're using all that information, and that allowed them to get to that level where they're like, 9-figure firms and all. So yeah, at the very beginning, you can get away without it. If you're going to grow, you absolutely have to take advantage of those things, AI and other softwares.
Gotcha. Thank you for a great response. Now you have an ebook, right?
I do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's basically what the entrepreneur's blind spots, what business builders see, but most founders miss, right? That's your ebook, right? Which is on your HinesOnAir.com podcast, right?
Thank you. Yes, it is.
Yes. So we're definitely going to be posting that on the show notes for the world to see, for sure, right? I mean, does a person have to be in Atlanta to actually get to do business with you? I mean, I know your license maybe in Georgia, but
no, we're in other states. We're in other states too. So if anybody ever has any legal stuff, we are mainly active in personal injury, what's called workers' compensation, which injuries at work, and then criminal defense. And we work in Tennessee. Georgia's the main state. We're in Texas, a little Florida. But if you ever have any questions, think we can help, we'll certainly have a conversation about it.
Well, Mark, I tell you, man, you have been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest. I really appreciate your energy. I appreciate, your message. I appreciate you as a person. And that tells me that you care about the people you work with every single day. They are very fortunate, my friend, to have someone like you, leading the pack with love, compassion, education, and most importantly, friendship. That's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge.
It's a pleasure being on your show, man. Congrats to your success on your podcast and everything else you got going.
Thank you. Once again, I got family down in Atlanta. I might have to come check you out and just, have a cup of coffee with you.
Oh, okay. I might have forgotten that. You have family here?
I got family living in Marietta. Yeah, I got family in Smyrna. I believe. Yeah, Smyrna. Yeah, up that space. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, that's my neck of the woods. So,
yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, around the mall. Was it Cobble? I forget what it's called. It's good to see. Yeah, Cobb Mall or whatever. Yeah, something like Cumberland Mall. That's it. Yeah, Cumberland. Yeah, that's it. My friend, thank you very much. I appreciate you being on Men Speaking Out once again. Looking forward to having more further discussion with you and your team. And you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks again.
All right. Bye-bye.